I'm joined by head coach Stephany Dunmyer from Virginia Wesleyan College women's basketball. They were picked number 5 in the ODAC preseason poll. Coach, let's take a look at last year's team coming into this year. You had a very young squad last year. So you still have a young squad in age this year, but they got a little bit of experience last year. Combined with new players in this year, what have you seen in early season practice?
Well, we have a large roster size this year, currently 18 in uniform. So we've had fairly good energy in practices so far. You know, the communication level has been pretty high. People are picking each other up. So from a culture standpoint, I think we're off to a good start with that. We do have several key returners back, obviously, but again, they are still in that younger echelon of the classes, I guess. But we're really excited about Jayla Harris and the experience she brings as our returning leading scorer and a sophomore point guard for us, but also with the ability to move her to the 2 a little bit this year, just with some extra backup point guards coming in that freshman class. But we're going to be young, quick, and small this year. So.
Jayla was obviously a person that made a name for herself last year, coming out having a good start to the season, continuing it throughout most of the campaign. Talk a little bit about if there's anybody that has that type of potential this season for you.
I think in that freshman class we have kind of a lot of people that could step up, but nobody's really separating themselves to that level. I mean, Jayla's a special player. I think she's one of those kids that, you know, you're lucky to get a once-in-a-career type of point guard leader. You know, I think she fills in really well from when Brittany Glasgow left our program. She came in as a little bit better shooter already, has a mid-range game. So Jayla's kind of, I think, up here a little bit. We do have one freshman, though, Megan Sherman, that's really kind of been very consistent for us in these first few weeks and is stepping up, and I think she'll contribute for us a lot this year.
When we take a look at all the new players coming into the league this year, one thing they won't have to combat is a change in rules. Generally, you change from the 4-quarter system in high school to halves in college.
Right.
Now it's quarters for Division III women's basketball, actually women's basketball in general in college.
Right.
Talk a little bit about your impressions after doing that for a year.
I think I'm not a huge fan of the change. I mean, it is what it is. We're kind of going with it now. I really dislike the no 1-and-1 on the free throws. So that's one of those rules. I think that the 2-shot automatic free throw is just not something I'm a fan of. But the advance the ball, I think it did change the game a lot and made maybe for some more exciting end-of-game situations. Again, I'd like to think I'm a little bit more of a defensive guru at this point, so you kind of like the fact that teams have to or have the opportunity to play full-court defense. So I'm not a big fan of that rule change either. But definitely the transition in terms of quarters makes it easier for our high school kids coming in. But there's still a lot of kind of nuances that we need to pass along to them and make sure that they're on the same page.
Well, you talked about exciting moments, and that's absolutely what we've had over the last couple of years in the ODAC, from you winning a championship that came down to the last shot 2 seasons ago to last year, a championship for Lynchburg that came down to the couple of the final possessions. Talk a little bit about what you see from the ODAC this year and if we have that same kind of excitement ahead of us.
I definitely think so. I think each year, I mean, all of the teams on a given night, like everybody's just competitive now and anybody can win on a given night. So I think it's exciting to see, I mean, the people coming in, you know some of them from recruiting them obviously, but you look at the sizes, you look at the number of classes coming in, and there's just a lot of kind of unknowns as far as for different programs who's going to step up with what people lost to graduation. But I think it's going to make for a very exciting year again, a very competitive year, and you know, hopefully it's at the end of the year who's putting their best basketball together and peaking at the right time, and we might have, you know, anywhere from probably 6 different teams that can maybe make a run in the tournament.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining me today, and good luck this season.
Thank you very much.